Welcome, ahlan ve sahlan, and hoş geldiniz. Can I now please welcome our esteemed panel of speakers today. We've got our Consul General, Onur Şaylan. Please. We've got dear Rahim Albayrak, who is the representative of the investment agency here in Dubai. And we've got Umut Emirler, who is leading a family office based in Istanbul. Thank you. So I myself, on my day job, I lead a full-service real estate investment platform based in Istanbul, Türkiye. But today I speak in my role as the vice president of the Real Estate Association of Real Estate Investors, GİODER. So today we will talk about the various aspects of FDI. And I want to give you a little spoiler before we start our panel discussion, which is that in the last 10 years, FDI into Turkey has more than doubled to over 20 billion US dollars, out of which about a third comes from real estate. I won't bore you with more stats, and I want to go into the panel discussion. First off, I want to start with our Consul General, Onur Şaylan, and I want to ask him, what is the current business environment in Turkey?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Ehlen ve sehlen, hoş geldiniz. It's an honor for me to address such a distinguished audience, and thank you for the opportunity to Henley Partners organizing this conference in our beautiful Dubai. First of all, let me start with paying tribute to our founding father, Gazi Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, as today is the anniversary of his death. It has been 85 years, and we have been remembering him and paying tribute every day for what he did with his vision and leadership. Starting with the question, my answer, well, the business environment in Turkey is, of course, great. But let me do a little bit into that. I think there are many pillars, many variables that affect business environment in a country like Turkey, which is 85 million. Let me start with the political context of it. Since the elections, we are very comfortable in saying that Turkey is relatively stable, foreseeable, and credible in terms of political context. Under the leadership of President Erdogan, we have a new government which is called by the authorities as a technocratic one and appreciated by everybody. Therefore, in terms of political context, I think Turkey is very business friendly and very growth oriented right now. From there, I would like to also pass to economic, especially macroeconomic context. As many of you know, you may know that in last September we have announced a new medium-term economic program. This macro and this medium-term planning is based on a very realistic, very consistent macroeconomic forecast and budget targets. The main aims of this program is, of course, macroeconomic stability, reducing inflation, and financial stability. We expect this medium-term program to be successful. It has been already successful because when you look at the CDS premium risk, it is already below 400, which was 700 last May, if I'm not mistaken. Also, we have seen a couple of agreements signed by between Turkey and our international partners. I can give you a local example. in the last visit of our president to UAE, we have signed a couple of agreements which amount to 50.7 or around 51 billion USD. This also shows credibility and trust in our medium-term economic program. Last pillar I can give is, of course, trade. Turkey have been implementing an export-oriented trade policy for the last 2 decades. In 2002, our volume of our foreign trade was 30 billion. In the last year, in 2022, it was 254. And we expect in 2 to 3 years' time to pass 300 billion volume. Again, a local example in this regard, maybe the UAE, because this year, with this signing of comprehensive economic partnership agreement with the UAE, we already break a record this year, which is gonna be over 20 billion, and we expect this to be increased year by year. Overall, I can say Turkey has been more business-friendly, more growth-oriented, and more credible in comparison to last couple of years, and we expect everybody to invest in Turkey and to earn with us, trust in us and earn with us. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So good business environment is obviously a very good starting point, but moving on to Rahim Albayrak, I want to ask you, why should anyone invest in Turkey and how do you support them?
Yes, okay. Thanks so much for everyone. Today I will try to analyze and give a brief investment environment in Turkey and why it should be invested in Turkey. My name is Rahim Albayrak. I am covering in the region and I am working for the President Office. In Turkey there is a President Investment Office and it is established only for guidance for the foreign investors and helping to in their investments, supporting them, and in case of any problems they face, also we are helping to them. This is truly government service and free of charge service. We are saying that 10 reasons to make the investments in Turkey. I will just briefly explain in my presentation about them. Turkey is showing very strong growth. Turkey is number 15 largest economy in the world as a PPP, and our growth is around in 20 years around 5.4%. We are showing a still growing economy, and also last in 2022 it was 5.6%, and we are the third fastest growing economy in Europe. The other reason, especially some of the economic fundamentals in Turkey is so strong. When we look at the public debt stock to GDP, comparing with the EU countries, we are below of the Maastricht criteria. We are very strong from that perspective, and also for our budget balance also is below of the Maastricht criteria, less than 3%. It is around 3.2% nowadays, but our aim and our target is making a strong budget balance, and we are trying to below of this rate. And as I said, it is a very robust economy and a very big economy. And as you see, in 2002, we had around $230 billion economy, but it is tripled four times, maybe we grew, and now we reached around $900 billion economy, and we are expecting it will come to the shortly to $1 trillion economy. And what is the important factor for the Turkey is population, of course. We have 85 million people is living in Turkey, and population is growing. And in the region, there is not such kind of highly populated countries that only Egypt and Turkey in the region is the most populated countries. And together with the population, the another important factor driven also for the young population. We have our mid of the age of our population is around 33. And we have a skilled and young population, and comparing with the European countries, we are quite in a favorable position. And another important factor, strategic location. We have 85 million people inside of Turkey, but together we have agreement with the EU countries, custom agreement with the EU countries. For instance, our product, everything can go without custom tax to the EU. You can export to there. And also together with the EU and around of the FTA countries, we are we are able to reaching around 1 billion consumers in around of our region. The another thing is connectivity is so much important, and Turkey as a location, strategic location, is very favorable position. And you can we have a railroads, sea roads, air roads, and you can reach to the in around of the 4 hours radius. We can reach to so many countries so easily. And also one of the important factor also for Turkey, Turkish Airlines. Around nearly 130 countries, Turkish Airlines is flying. It's giving very big advantage to Turkey also. This is the national airlines of Turkey. And also, another, as I said, population is important factor for us, giving advantage to us. And the graduations, when you look at that one, around 1 million students graduating from university in Turkey. And comparing with our peer countries, like European countries, investable countries, Turkey with qualified engineers perspective, senior manager perspective, quite in a good position. How Turkey is succeeding that one? I can say to 2002 to 2023, we attract around $250 billion foreign direct investments, and mainly it came from the European countries. And we have this infrastructure. For that reason, they are coming to Turkey and staying in Turkey during the long years. There are some foreign companies, more than 50, 60 years, they are operating in Turkey because we are continuously making the reforms. And also we are making our legislation also with the EU countries. From that perspective, Turkey came a favorable position. And together with these reforms, for example, company establishment in Turkey, within 7 days you can establish a company. And there is one criteria that ease of doing business ranking for the foreign investor when you are making any investments in the world. Turkey came to quite a favorable position. Now we are 33 and we are coming quite a high level positions. And when we look at from the perspective for the foreign investor, you will ask, what is securing me when I'm making any investments in Turkey? Of course, we have a law for covering the rights of the foreign direct investors. FDI law we have, and also we have with 86 countries, we have bilateral investment protection agreements also, and also double taxation agreements with 78 countries we implemented. From that perspective, if you look at the ratios from tax perspective and also comparing with our peer countries, Turkey is quite favorable position. This is the result, around $252 billion investment. We attracted around 80,000 foreign companies operating in Turkey, and most of our countries who is making investment in Turkey is mainly European countries. I will just a brief information about citizenship program. Most probably before this event, this speech also, some presentation has been done. But for Turkey is established, introduced a program for the citizenship program 2017, and then in 2018 we have some amendments in that program. And any foreigners come to Turkey and they can be owner of their own real estate. There is no any restrictions. And they can get this also passport citizenship with the citizenship program. They can get the passport. The criteria for this one: either you should invest to the real estate around $400,000, or you should deposit the money to the banks around $500,000, or you could be get for the stock market for the funds around $500,000. You can invest and then you can make your application. After the evaluation of that one, you can get your passport. If there is any question related to that one, we are ready to give the response for that one. What is the process? It is so easy and so smooth, and also during the last 3-4 years, we are applying this program, and then there are so many approvals and so many people get their passports also together with that one. There is no need to wait. Actually, approximately timeline is around 6 months like that. After your application, you are able to get granted the passport, and you are opening a bank account, you are making your investments, and then applying for residence permit, and then you are getting, after the security checks, intelligence checks, you are getting to your passport. What is the key benefits of this one? you are becoming the citizen of the Turkey, and there is no any difference with the local people, and you are treating like a Turkish people. There is no any difference. No wealth declaration is requiring for this one. And also, you are getting the permanent residence, but no need to stay in Turkey permanently. There is no such kind of requirement. And also, you can repatriate your investments after 3 years. 3 years, we are blocking your investments. After 3 years, you can sell your real estate, or you can take your money as a deposit money. You can take from the Turkey. And also, with your families also below of the 18 years old, they can eligible with that application to get the passport. What is giving the another advantage of the passport is more than 100 countries you can travel without the visa because of being the Turkish citizen. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the insight. So that means we've got a very business-friendly environment. We've got very strong fundamentals. We've got strategic location, and we've got a very attractive citizenship by investment scheme. So I want to move on to Umut, last but not least. Umut is leading, as I mentioned briefly in the beginning, Umut is leading a multifamily office based in Istanbul with investors mainly from the GCC. So how does it work in your case in real life?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. It's actually a different place to run a multi-family office. I think we're probably the only one that's running a multi-family office out of Istanbul. So we're discovering a lot of new synergies while we're doing that. This is something that is more known to be done in Central Europe, and I believe there's a lot of wealth is also managed in this part of the world. But out of Istanbul, that was quite a different approach. But we find it very efficient because there's a great human resources, almost as compatible as the Western kinds in Central Europe or Northern American type of education and perspective and global understanding. And on top of that, it's a very good communication with the Middle East. I think that's our edge when it comes to understanding and working together. In the first decade of my career, when we were doing this, we were obviously trying to attract capital to Turkey. That was the main strategy. And we're managing the FDI that was coming to the country. But I would say in the last 2 decades and the other half of the last 5 years, what we're seeing more and more is joint collaboration on expanding on other territories, either in Europe or North America or in other developing countries. We are taking a lot of our investors to different parts of the world together. We're adding the capability side from Turkey, and we're taking the capital side from the GCC, and we're deploying programs together in Africa, in Europe, and in North America. I would give an example. For example, we're dominantly, by the way, a GCC investor, but we have some Asian investors as well. We took our Asian investor and we deployed a geothermal energy machine, and we deploy that into now Indonesia. And Turkey has, again, an interesting edge because most of the technology development is done in the Western countries where there is a huge access to capital. So their products that they developed, that they assume that there will be an available capital to deploy the technology into the territories. But that seems to be quite problematic if you are dealing with a developing country where the capital markets and banking is not as established as the Western countries. So these massive investments in energy and other fields cannot actually get realized. I think today in an earlier panel, St. Kitts Prime Minister was talking about the difficulty of accessing and for their geothermal. Turkey is #1 in Europe in geothermal. We have 2 gigawatts of geothermal, and we had deployed that mostly with Western supported capital, but now we are developed our indigenous technology, which is just built for a faster energy production, less of a capital requirements. It's more modular, smaller units. So those kind of innovations are becoming very strategic to investors. And we are collaborating with our families in order to deploy them in the rest of the world. And I see there's more and more these kind of things will be happening. And now there is this third country collaboration, I think will be the theme of the next decade for Turkey. And Middle Eastern capital is just start coming, and I think we will see more of that.
Thank you very much. That was really insightful, and I think it shows that FDI doesn't have to be only one way. It's not only inward, but it can also lead to very successful collaboration both ways. And from what you've said is basically that capital is one thing, but we've got an edge in human capital that can lead to very strong collaborations, across the board in many, many different countries. Any final thoughts that either one of you wants to add?
I can add one last thing. I think now there is a tremendous push from the Saudi side, which we are very active in terms of reindustrialization. In the post-COVID era, the world kind of rediscovered that their dependencies on a certain region with a singular product become very problematic. So all the world right now is pushing for almost, I call it like a mini reindustrialization, mini relocalization in opposite to globalization, what was advocated for years. And everyone is trying to deploy their own industry, at least in a self-sufficient way. And in this area, I see that Turkish and Middle Eastern collaboration is going to go very high. And actually, some of the businesses that we were investing, now we're seeing requests and demands from even United States, because United States goes through the similar process that they want to reduce their dependencies, at least to the Asian countries, in terms of their industry. And I think that there's a very good model that's working now. We will see more and more of that is coming, especially with the push in Saudi. There's tremendous capital now flowing there, and there's a lot of collaboration happening on both sides.
Absolutely, it's really, you can really see it happening. There's an anecdote that I wanted to share with you. I've had a client who was, I don't even remember where he was from, but he was probably North American. And he always said, "You Turks are really the Germans of the Mediterranean." I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. It always comes to my mind when we talk about human capital in Turkey. So if there's no questions, I think we really are the Germans of the Mediterranean because we close on time. So thank you very much to our panel.